Hey everybody, how's it going? Icy Cat here. This weekend's live demonstration gave us a big look at a lot of changes that are coming to the game. So let's break it down and take a closer look at everything we can expect later on this week when Season 4 launches. First of all, let me start out prefacing this video by saying that this is coming in after the weekend reveal. Some people will let me know right away in the comments that I'm posting this video late and this information has already been out there for a day or two. I am not a full-time YouTuber. I have a wife and kids and a job and some other commitments. So this weekend I was actually out of town and spending time with my family. And in my list of priorities, my family is first, then my job, and then my YouTube stuff pulls in kind of like a distant third, maybe even fourth place to other things that I have going on in my life. But we're going to put everything into one package here and just go over it all so that we know what to expect this coming Thursday. First up, let's begin talking about the map. So this is a skyscraper map, and we can see that the rooms here have this rich theme that carries throughout all of its textures and its color palette. As we've seen in some of the shots too, the exterior grounds are very expansive and richly detailed. There is a large amount of real estate outside of the map before you even get into the shell of the building. But once you get into the exterior perimeter wall, whether you're starting on the helipad or from those HVAC units, once you're inside of that wall, it is all about the traditional Japanese architecture. The backstory behind this is that apparently this is a Yakuza temple that's under assault from some other Yakuza leader or something like that. This map has a lot of detail and it looks like it has a decent amount of surface area too. From what we can tell both in the map shots that have been shown as well as the gameplay examples that followed in the live demonstration map, it appears that there's only two levels to this map, kind of like the ground level and then an upper level. There didn't appear to be like an upper attic or like a lower underground basement or anything from what we could tell. But despite that, the surface area of the map seems to be quite large nonetheless. It also seems like they've taken a little bit of the focus off of exterior wall breaches like we had in Favela and Border, where you had actually a fair amount of ways to get into the outer shell without actually going into the building first to do so. Now let's talk about the new operators. So we got a good look at Hibana. Let's start with her. She is a fast, light operator. So that means she's going to be highly mobile, moving quickly, but she's not going to be able to take a lot of hits. We already know what her loadout is going to be. She'll have the Type 89 assault rifle, the 12-gauge pump action Benelli Supernova shotgun, the SIG P229 handgun, and the Minibia PM9. It's kind of like a pocket SMG or a PDW sort of secondary weapon. And we now know what her secondary gadgets are. She'll have choice of flashbang or claymore. And we now know what her ability will be. So she shoots out these projectiles. They launch out in 2 rows of 3, kind of like a rectangular row, and they'll attach to a wall. And when you have a reinforced wall, you can set these off and they'll burn for a few seconds. The thermite that's inside of them will cut through the wall and then they'll explode. And she has up to 3 of these charges. And what she can do is she can actually stack these charges. So we've seen gameplay examples where they shoot out 2 of them and they make a hole that's actually vaultable. This would be in comparison to maybe a sledge hole. If you want, you can fire all 3 at a wall and then you will make a hole equivalent in size to thermite's breach that you can actually walk through. You can also use these to pop open trapdoors that have been reinforced. And it seems like they'll also work on non-reinforced surfaces too. A really interesting thing about the way these work is that you can tell by looking at the gameplay footage that you can fire these off and you can put as many of them out as you want to, and then you trigger their detonation when you want it to go off. So you can place 3 of these in different positions and trigger them to all fire off simultaneously. Or you can place 2 and set those off simultaneously, keep your 3rd in reserve, but it looks like you have the ability to put out multiple sets of these before triggering them. We did hear from the developers in the live stream event that you can stop these with mute jammers or bandit batteries. Now let's talk about the Defender, Echo. His loadout, as we knew before, was the MP5 silenced version, and the rest of his loadout is the same as Hibana. So he'll have the Benelli Supernova shotgun, he'll have the P229, and the PM9 SMG. His secondary gadgets will be barbed wire or a deployable shield. And this character is a 3 armor character. So this is the guy that can take the heavy hits that stays back. They kind of wanted to make somebody that would be not a roamer this time. This would be somebody that would be more objective defense. He is slower, of course, because of that. And as we knew from before, his ability is this drone, but we know more about it now. He can fly it around, or hover it around, really. It doesn't actually like fly in elevation. It just kind of hovers along the ground off of a certain height. When he's moving it around, he can, watch the camera view on that. But when he wants to, he can apparently just invert it and stick it up to a ceiling. And it looks like when it's put up there, it can no longer move around. It's like in a fixed position. And if you want to move it again, it looks like you have to detach it, let it fall to the ground, and then move it somewhere else to reposition it. Here's the really interesting thing, though. When it's up in its fixed position, it engages an active cloaking system. It effectively becomes invisible. It looks like you can just barely make out the edges of it if you know exactly where to look, but for all intents and purposes, it's like 90% invisible, and you won't be able to see it unless you've got IQ or somebody helping you spot it. Now, when it's up there and it's in that invisible mode, it gets these like weird kind of jagged lines around the edges of the camera, so that kind of shows that the camera is looking through the optical camouflage that's on it right now, and it's getting distorted around that. So when you're up above like that, you are invisible, but you have some distortion on your view. When you're down below and you're moving on the ground, your camera view is much more clear, but your drone is now visible and more vulnerable in that stage. The other thing the drone can do when it's up high is you have the ability to shoot out these like sonic blasts. These disorient the attackers that are making their push. You can actually hit friendly operators. They will get this disorientation that kind of occurs to them where the vision will get all swimmy. These darts do appear to recharge over time. He gets 3 of them initially, and we've seen them recharge 1 or 2. I don't know if you can recharge all 3 of them or if you can recharge them infinitely. And so when these sonic blasts go out, apparently the drone needs a few seconds to recharge these before they can shoot out more. Of course, with each new season, we get new waves of customization, and while this one is no different, they've gone above and beyond what we've had in previous seasons. Let's start just by taking a look at the weapon skins. These are the expected ones. We have a few new ones that are coming out that look like they'll be tied to the Japanese CTU. And there's a chance that some of these could be available for all the operators like they were in Skull Rain, where you could buy one in the Skull Rain bundle and it would be available for everybody, even if they weren't in that specific CTU, possibly. I'm not sure. But there's definitely a few unique specific custom ones. Then we get this exciting image where we talk about some new universal weapon skins that are available. So you can see up at the top here, we've got our usual ones that we knew from the season before we had. And then you can see the Skull Rain ones. We see that there's 4 new additions in the Japanese one. You can tell by the little red 6 icon that are there, denoting that those are season 4 specific. And then we have new solid colors under the universal skins. So the first one there I'm really excited about, that's black. So we'll be getting a black universal weapon skin for all of the non-default black guns in the game. But it looks like we also have a few other color options. It looks like the first one in that bottom row there is some kind of a medium to dark gray color. Then we have kind of like a lime green, sort of a pastel yellow, sort of a vibrant, we had purple already. This is maybe more of like a magenta or something. And then kind of like a teal or an aqua color to sort of finish it all off. But then we get into the really big change for customization that's coming this season, and that's full body operator uniforms. And these are shown here. We've got some of these, they're sort of like victory poses going on. So the way these work is if you have an MVP uniform, this apparently gives you a skin for the gadget as well as a new uniform, and it accompanies with one of these victory poses. You will only get this animation played if you have won the match. If you are the MVP and you have only this sort of legendary or elite skin with their abilities equipped, you'll get that. You also get a custom image on the operator screen when you're loading up for the map there that denotes that you've got one of those active. And here we can get a closer look at some of these in-game. So right in front of us here is Ash. You can see she has like different colored pants on and a certain kind of a red sweater or shirt or something. Here's a good look at Sledge's pattern that we just saw in the victory pose. You can see that. And here's a real quick one we see of Smoke. This is like an all-body camo. It's kind of like, seems like maybe it matches the Skull Rain headgear, and he has a different headgear here as well. Then we go on to some different uniforms. This one is for Echo. You will get this one if you are a season pass holder for free. This will come with the season pass. And there's another one here for Hibana as well. And so both of these are available as full body customizations with the uniform and the headgear for those 2 operators for free with the season pass. We're also introducing a new skin here. This is for shields. Check it out. So here we have some kind of like a army camouflage skin on this shield here, and we can see it encompasses the entire shield. So we now have shield skins coming to the game. So we've got full body uniform skins, victory poses for the elite winners. Here's another close-up look at Ash's. And, we've also got the shield skins that we can add on now. So we can get a good look at those. We've got customization all around. It's not just for the weapons themselves or the headgears anymore. Another feature we have coming to the game that's new is weapon caliber specific destruction. So we can see in this video we're outlining what some of the different bullet holes will wind up being based on the caliber of the gun. You can get a difference in some of the sizes of the holes that you're shooting out, but they also stack. So when you're firing, and making multiple holes in a wall, they're going to wind up ripping out larger chunks. So here we're showing an example of some holes that you can put out using just a pistol, or, doing it with an assault rifle, now ripping out these much larger chunks of walls. And I've seen actual footage of like assault rifles firing into walls, and they don't really do this, but that's okay, because in the game mechanics, it actually does wind up making things just feeling like more just destructible overall. It's going to have more of a sense of panic when you're under fire and these giant chunks of the wall are ripping away. So even if it's not necessarily the most realistic thing for these, like look at this Desert Eagle, it's like pretty much pulling holes in walls like a shotgun. It is a 50 caliber bullet, but still, I don't think it would necessarily do that in real life. But for the game mechanic, they're just doing some interesting things with it. Make it so that creating murder holes is not only more viable, but more interesting and dynamic. And you can just do more things to sort of like create that level destruction to customize your environment, whether you're on attack or defense. The last piece of gameplay we have to share with you is this exciting footage they showed about a match being played on Bartlett University. So this is a map that has been in the game ever since it first launched, but I'm still surprised by how many people don't know about it. When I talk to people and I mention Bartlett University, some people scratch their heads and are like, what are you talking about? For those of you that don't know, if you play the situations, the single player situations, there's 10 of them. Well, if you finish all 10, an 11th situation unlocks. It's called Article 5, and this takes place on this map on Bartlett University. And if you haven't played through all of the situations, you would have never unlocked this map. It's a different map that's not in the game by default, except for in this one specific mode. And when you play it, it's actually all covered in like gas. It's pretty much like smoke's gas clouds, but across the entire level, and it stays persistent the entire time you're playing. But people have always wondered, if it's in the game, why not have it available in PvP? And the developers did say in a Reddit AMA last December that they would be bringing this to the game as a bonus free 5th map sometime during the year. This is going to be paired with the mid-season reinforcements. That's the program that they started last season with the Skull Rain. So the mid-season reinforcements is kind of like a change in the middle of the 3-month period between seasons that's very substantial and brings about a lot of new features and new changes, but it's not like new operators and new maps. It's just like major tweaks and adjustments to the game and maybe introducing some new elements. So this new map, Bartlett University, will come during Season 4's mid-season reinforcements. This map is, the reason it took so long for it to come out, first of all, they prioritized the original 4 DLC maps that they wanted to put out. This was a bonus 5th one, and it really needed to be changed for use in multiplayer. It didn't have enough breachable surfaces. If you played Article 5, you would have noticed that there weren't like a lot of, I don't even know if there were any trapdoors or not. If they were, they probably couldn't see them all that well during all the gas clouds moving all over the place that obscured your vision. But they talked about how they like added a trapdoor in the roof, and they took out a ladder that wasn't going to make sense for the PvP mode, and they did some other stuff, major retexturing, because when your entire map is covered in these giant clouds of yellow toxic gas, you can't see any of the textures that are under there. So once they clear all that out, they realized maybe we need to upgrade some of these textures and make the whole map look a little nicer overall. So the entire thing has gotten sort of a rebalancing. They say it is one of the biggest buildings in the game that you can play in. It has 120 windows on it. They said that like about half of those are metal reinforced windows, so like you can't breach through them anyway. So really we're only talking about 60 windows, but still there's a lot of windows in the structure. It is a multi-floor structure, and there are parts of the building where you can engage on one floor down to the other floor or vice versa. So there's like open areas around stairwells or in a multi-floor library room and some other things like that. And this will be coming out. So the mid-season reinforcements, that probably pushes us somewhere around like Christmas time or so, maybe a little before then, a little after then, depending on when they release it. Now, after that, they did reveal that there is confirmed a year 2 coming out. We already knew that. Ubisoft Brazil did, and I did a video on this recently, but they talked about how they were confirming that there was going to be a season pass for year 2. The current season pass does expire December 1st. This will give you all the operators for season 4. I mean, that is coming out, November 17th. So as long as you have it before December 1st, you will still get all the season 4 operators and stuff that you want. But after that point, then there will be a new season pass for the next year. We don't know what that new season pass will really offer. We're pretty sure it's going to offer like, getting all the operators unlocked instantly with the 7-day exclusivity period. But whatever it is, it will probably probably be mostly cosmetic based, which is what the first season pass was. It's helpful to think of these season passes as not like exclusive give me everything kind of content passes so much as it is like bypassing standing in line at an amusement park for your favorite roller coaster ride. You know, you've got the long ride or you've got the express lane. Think of the season pass as like the express pass. It's allowing you to get content faster without putting all the time into grinding for something. Now, whether or not that's the way they're going to continue it going into year 2, we're not sure yet, but hopefully that'll be revealed pretty soon. They did let us know that the patch notes will be coming out this Wednesday, the 16th, so it's coming out a day in advance of the actual content for Season 4 being released. And at that time, we'll get a chance to see any additional changes that have been included in the patch notes that weren't already covered. I can guarantee you that there will be some. There are always more changes in the patch notes than they let us know about in advance. After the content drops, we'll also be doing operator profiles to give you the breakdown on how the new operators work with their abilities and the best ways to use them, as well as full map walkthroughs so you get to learn where all the objective spawns are and how to hold the best angles, all the things you need to know to hold down the map. So if you want to stay up to date on all that new latest information, reviews, walkthroughs, tips, tricks, and more for Rainbow Six Siege, please like and subscribe. You can also follow me over at IcyCat25 on either Facebook or Twitter. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.